Good morning, everybody. We are live here in the Horizon Studios. Got a little technical difficulty.
You know what's cool is I got a notification that we're live on your radio.
So, anyway, as we figure things out here, we are working on getting our sound quality going. But hey, guys, good morning. We have a special, exciting product to show you guys today from the Blade team. We announced this yesterday. This is the Theory W Team Edition. And I've got Mr. James Haley here with me today, and we are going to talk about this product in full detail. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Both of us are going to have the live feed pulled up on our phones. And for those of you on YouTube, our social media team will pass those questions to us. So please send along your questions. Now, James, this is a wing that you and I are both very fond of.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You know, James and I won the World Championships in 2016 with the Theory W, the original version. We've since then gone to go to events here and there and do quite well with it. We wanted to make some changes that really fit the style of product that we were really wanting at the get-go, but just couldn't get to that point.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with all the improvements we figured out in racing, all the different races, we learned along the way, and now we have a product that we can truly take out of the box, and it's even better than the original Theory W. So let's jump into some of the things. The first thing I want to talk about, which is the biggest feature that you can tell, is that it's EPP foam.
Yep.
So explain, and I know what it is, but explain to the audience kind of what EPP is if you're not familiar with that, and the differences between the two.
Yeah, so on the original one was EPO for reference, and EPO is what you would find in most everyday airplanes from us. So it's very dense, it's very light, it's very rigid, so you can get a really rigid structure for for the density of the foam.
Right.
But that said, we've all seen it. You can dent it, you can scratch it. You put your thumb into it, it dents very easily, it doesn't come back or anything. So there's a little bit of the aesthetics. And also, if you crash, like we've had before, it explodes. I mean, it's a very durable, but yet not very crash-resistant foam. It has its purpose, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it certainly has its purpose, and you see that style of foam we call Carbon Z in our E-Flight aircraft, where you're not doing 120 miles an hour around poles. It's completely fine. It's the rigidity that they're looking for, and you get that nice, clean, you can do scale detail in it. EPP is a rougher foam, but it's, by all means, we've got the wings off on this one here, and I'll just kind of show them the cameras on the side here, but if we squeeze on this foam really hard, it pops right back to shape. In a few seconds, it'll come right back. So really good foam for the purpose of racing, which we're not just racing in the air, we're racing through gates and around hard objects, or even bumping into other aircraft. Does happen occasionally.
Yeah. So this one's a molded EPP. It's got a very dense foam, so it is a little bit of a heavier foam, per square inch or whatever we wanted to call it. That said, there is some downsides to EPP. So, little thinner area, you can't get the trailing edges thin. So, also, it's a softer material. So, that said, it needs a little bit more support. So, there actually is now supports in the elevons to make sure it can still pull just as hard as the EPO. So, there's nice carbon fiber inlaid into there to give it that strength back that normally you would have lost with the EPP.
Yeah. So, overall, super durable, really crash resistant. And, guys, if you're into wings in general and you like to laminate, you can certainly get your laminate out and use your iron on this, and it irons up really well with the laminate. So if you want to make your Theory W even stronger, go ahead and laminate. It's not going to come laminated out of the box, but it's something I'm going to try on another version of this. These are two pre-production samples, but when I get mine, I'm going to try to do a laminated one, and I'll show you guys the difference in strength. So let's jump into the actual aircraft itself.
I did have one quick question here from Josh. He asked if we've updated the motor mount. I'm assuming from a heat standpoint, he asked if we beefed it up, in other words, using fiber infused or anything like that. So we have not. It is black, so that's just a color change. What some people were having was they were running the wrong prop combination, and it was getting so hot, it was melting the motor mount.
Sure.
That said, we're going to be posting the file for it, so if you guys want a 3D print one, you can go for it, just to replace it, because we don't sell it as a spare part.
Right.
But, the biggest thing there is just making sure you have the right prop combo if you're changing it. A lot of people on the previous ones were changing the prop out, even running a higher pitch multi-rotor prop.
Yeah, just too much.
It's just too much. We really recommend the APC speed props. I mean, the difference between a 5.3, a 4.75 by 4.75, or a 5x5 on the previous really mattered on the current draw and the temperature of the motor.
Yeah. So Yeah, so I mean, if you guys are melting them, then that's just really an incorrect prop combination. The stuff that comes out of the box with this now is a 5.5.
I'll be in touch to Josh, so we'll get back in touch to get you.
Yeah, Josh, we'll get you set up, man. But yeah, we got a 5.5 prop on here now out of the box. It's not an APC branded prop by any means, but it's a very good airplane prop of that style. So if you have if you have APCs laying around, go with a 5.5. This is actually a 2450 kV motor. So it's a 2206 2450 kV motor. So if you're a Blade fan, it's the same motor we're using on our Theory XL platform or our Conspiracy platform. Those two quads, same exact motor, multi-rotor motor. So again, if you've got a motor of different brands and you want to change the color or change the motor out, it's super easy. It still has that quick release mount on the back. But let's jump into the internals, which is really where the fun begins.
Yeah, so this is where a lot of changes have happened. They're subtle, but they make a huge difference for me, in my opinion. So for the flight control, we'll start there. So it's the same flight control. It's the 636. But we've changed the code quite extensively. We've retuned the flight control to give it a little bit better flight performance, as well as at the higher speeds now. So we have the initial safe mode, which is what we call launch mode. So as you see in the video, I mean, that makes it so you don't have a care in the world when you throw it.
Yeah.
I mean,
add a little throttle, toss it into the air,
and you can throw it backwards, up over your head, whatever. It's going to correct itself. And that's one of the biggest things that we've seen, in a lot of wing racing and even just flying FPV. I mean, we've sat down in a chair, goggles on from the chair, tossed it, and away you're going. You don't need a separate launcher. You're not tossing it up over your head with your radio and everything. It just provides that ease of use that really is what, you kind of want in a wing that you're just going to go out and throw around.
And when you're racing, whether you're racing or not, what you don't want to do is crash your airplane by throwing it. That's like the worst thing that can happen.
We've all been there.
It takes the fun out of the experience because really, if you crash while you're flying, that's one thing. If you don't even get into the air, that's what safe is designed to fix. So we have that in launch. The second flight mode is AS3X.
Yep, so that's very similar to the current gyro modes. And that's there. It's very subtle, in all honesty. I mean, it's barely on. It's there just to kind of give you hold your heading, and as well as allows you to turn, pull tighter, and it keeps you on that heading when you pull. There's really, in my opinion, no reason not to have something like that. I mean, it's not really, some people have talked about how the feel changes. It's really,
it's personal preference. We like it. You and I love it.
Yep.
I know it's a point of contest in the racing scene, and then we also have a non-gyro mode. So we have a mode in there where you just flick back all the way up on the switch, and now your gyro system is completely off. So if you do have a race that doesn't allow that, then you can certainly fly in that mode. So
the one thing against gyros is sometimes it's a little rockier in the FPV's perspective. So if you're wanting that smooth, flight performance and video, click the non-gyro, and if you're just cruising, it'll sit there and it gets buffeted around by the wind.
Yeah, but you're going to have all the stabilization systems turned off. All right, so moving from the receiver, let's go to the VTX. I think this is a big piece of this. We have the new Spectrum VT1000 in the Theory W Team Edition, and that's the newest VTX from Spectrum. The cool thing about that is it's got the ability to modify or change your video transmitter settings from your radio. All G2 Spectrum radios, including the IX12, which we have here, and we're going to show you that screen now. But you can go there if you're at the field, and let's say your buddy's on channel F1 and you need to be on channel E2. Well, instead of going in the model, pulling out the video transmitter,
moving the battery, getting down into the buttons.
Yeah, getting the buttons, learning the light
seeing what LEDs are. What's this one mean? Cycling through all the channels.
Right. Depending on what your power. So this is a variable power transmitter. So you have the 25 milliwatt for racing, 200 milliwatt for medium flying, and 600 milliwatt for high penetration or distance flying. And then on the radio, let's go ahead and show that, James. So on the radio, this is the IX12, obviously, and the screens will look very similar to this. It all functions the same. But you essentially go to your video transmitter menu, and you can select the band.
Yep. So you got band, channel, power output, so you have buckets here. So right now inhibits off, so that means you can turn your VTX off completely. So say you just want to go line of sight flight, test it out right there. You don't have to worry about blasting somebody else out of the air. Or the one really cool thing now, in my opinion, is pit mode. So we've all had to focus our camera lens. I mean, you swap out a camera, bust the lens up. Right now, pit mode, you can power that thing up, and you could be flying right next to me, and it's outputting less than a half a milliwatt. So if anything else is even on the same channel,
it's not even
going to matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a foot matter on the distance. So I had to put the goggles or monitor right next to it, which makes a huge difference when you're trying to do that. I mean, we've all been there and like, well, can't power up.
Yeah.
And also, we've all had it where races get delayed. I mean, you're
Sure.
sitting there, plane's on, the VTX is down in the foam, no airflow.
Getting hot.
Click into there, shuts it down for a little bit. Super easy to use.
Yeah, it's a really nice feature on that, guys. And again, it is variable, so you have the wide range. You're not just stuck at 200 milliwatt now. You have 25 for the races that require it, and 600 for when you're out by yourself. So let's jump into the camera now. So we've recently started a partnership with the folks at RunCam, a fantastic camera company for UFPV guys out there. I think they're pretty much the industry standard at this point. So we worked on getting the Swift 2 into this product. So if you're familiar with RunCam, it's that camera. And so the lens, talk about the lens.
Yeah, so it's a 2.3 lens now. We used to run 2.1s in all of our stuff previously. The 2.3 is a little lighter, not as big and bulky, makes it nice. Also, on the 2.1s, they kind of had that spot, so it's a tough focal point. So the 2.3 kind of fixes that.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, on wings, the wider your lens, the better, in our opinion. If you run a really tight lens, you can't see your corners.
It's like
you can't,
driving down a tunnel.
Yeah, it's like flying. And in an airplane, you don't have a rudder, so a wing, you don't have a rudder, so you can't yaw to see where you're going. Or like in a quad, you can't yaw to see where you're going. So being able to see out of your peripherals wider with a wider field of view is how we get. I don't know how many people in the racing series run these lenses. I'm sure most do now. But earlier on, I think that was the reason why we were able to cut the corners tighter, because we can see them better. So that's in there. You also have your on-screen display. So you're going to have your call sign, so your name. You're going to have your battery voltage on screen, so which is a huge piece, especially when you're out flying around by yourself and you're not in a timed race. You go, oh, well, okay, my voltage is at.
We've all been there. Yeah. Oh, I got to get back quick.
Yeah, I got to get back quick. So having the voltage on screen is really nice. And then the video translator, just jumping back to that real quick, it does have an MMCX connector, so you can swap out left or right polarization.
No more trying to get down there and unscrewing the SMA.
Yeah.
It's a lightweight connector. Also, it's all pre-wired, so if you guys want to put that VTX and anything else, it has a JST for the power, but it's all wired up to plug into a receiver for the VTX control, and as well as it's giving OSD voltage to the camera, all wired up. Thanks, sir.
So, and then everything else, guys, the bottom of this, I'll turn this upside down, and we'll talk about the wing design here. But this is really the same. But if you're not familiar with the Theory W, we've got one kind of popped open here. So we have a central main carbon spar, and then we also have this wing detached design, or wing departure design. So when you're traveling, and James and I travel a lot with these in a suitcase, you just push on the button inside of here, and then pop the wing, and that just pulls out, and you have your servo lead there, and then you can now take your wing and put it in your suitcase, and then
we're ready to have a boat.
Or you can have a boat, yeah. But you just slide that back on, set up your servo connection there, make sure the wire gets tucked in, and then you just click it in, and now that wing, I'm pulling on it really hard, probably about 20 pounds of pressure. Yeah, haven't hit the gym in a couple days. But yeah, this is really, really tight on there, so that wing's not coming off. Really good for storage. I've even seen them, I've even had the wing eject in a hard crash, which actually gets rid of the mass of the airplane. So let's talk about the hatches here. So it's going to come with
standard hatch.
Standard hatch, yeah. So you're going to have that. If you do want to run a run cam up top, we left that plate in there, so those guys that have that horizontal.
And it comes with the other hatch where it fits right on top.
Yeah, so there's a hatch, and we don't have it here, guys, but you've seen it on the old one where it's got the cutout for the run cam, so you can run a camera, HD camera on top of your FPV camera. It does have XT60 connector, so for you guys that run XT60s. And one question I saw was, is the battery bay any different? No, it's not. It's actually the same. We typically run 1300s. A lot of times HV batteries are either allowed or not allowed in racing, so it depends on what we're doing. But we run a 1300 or 1350. I believe you could even fit like a 1500 in there, probably.
1600 you can fit. I mean, a standard FPV pack. It's a little tight, but that's okay.
Yeah, it fits. CG will be a little heavier in the front end, but it does fly really well. So as far as speed goes, guys, and again, price, Derek's commenting. Thanks, Derek, for that. $299 for the total package. This is a bind and fly with everything we just talked about included out of the box. Click the wings on, go and fly. It's that easy. Let's see, what was I going to talk about next? Just some of the questions. We talked about the launch mode. We talked about, I'm just going through questions here, battery size, so that's good. And we talked about the motor mount. You got any other?
One question here is, have we flown with the GoPro on it? Yeah, we've flown with GoPros. We run the session. Works really well. If you do that, just be prepared for it to be a little nose heavy on launch. just got to be on top of it. But it won't fly slow. Obviously, you're loaded up, but it completely can handle it.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to talk about, and again, this is the same thing as a previous one. It may be hard to see for our side camera here, but the Elevon here, this one doesn't particularly have the carbon spar in it, but this is a prototype. But this is a fully captured Elevon. So a lot of times with wings, you have just the clevis or the horn that comes in, and it's just kind of pinching the Elevon, right, on a balsa Elevon. Well, this is a foam Elevon, but it's all fully captured, so we get a lot of rigidity in that, and that all connects up to this Spectrum Metal Gear servo. So we didn't really talk about the servos. This is the same servos that were in the previous 3W, and they're 12 gram, they're Metal Gear, they're digital, they're really good servos. I've never had one fail, and I've never had one strip, and I've crashed our World's Edition, which we can't
spectacularly.
I've crashed it at about 140 miles an hour straight into the ground, and the electronics ejected 70 feet from the aircraft, and the servos still work. We put them in a new airplane. Yep. So that's a pretty good testament to those servos actually being rocking as far as their durability. They're pretty protected on a wing like this, obviously, but awesome servos.
Yeah. One question here is the video settings. Is it dip switches or is it smart audio? So the buttons are there if you want to change channels. Manually,
sure.
Just in case if you don't have, like, say, a DXE or something you're flying. But if you have any G2 radio, you can always do it from the radio, which is kind of our variant of smart audio.
Sure.
But it doesn't require a beta flight or some type of flight control. It works just right off the Spectrum bind port. Actually, you plug it right in. Yeah. And it just picks up that data right there. Yeah. It's very easy to use.
So the one, Chris Griffin, camera difference compared to the new FPV 27 Evolution. So that's an ultra micro airplane, and that uses the same camera or similar camera, but the same camera as our Torrent. Yeah. So it's really a very tiny CMOS. This is a full run cam Swift 2. So
handles lighting way better.
It's awesome on lighting.
The coloring spectacular. It's not really even comparable. The VTX power is, on the other one's 150 milliwatt. This is whatever you want, really. So
yeah, really.
Range is significantly different as well.
Yeah, so camera's way, way, way better. And I kind of did the pricing. I was talking to a customer last night and talk about the pricing of it. And if you do the run up, let's say you don't even use our receiver. If you want to build an airplane with the same electronics, and you go from either Horizon or let's say you go to our friend Sergio over at Pyroflip, you buy the same camera, the Swift 2, you buy an ESC, you buy a motor, you're going to be about $170 for electronics, and then some. You haven't even counted for a battery or anything like that. Granted, this doesn't come with a battery. But then you have a molded EPP airframe, which counts for a lot. I mean, this is a really good airframe, guys. Really strong airframe. It's a world champion wing. It kicks butt on the track. It's incredible. The airplane can pull harder than anything else I've seen out there on the track because of the molded design. You've got a faster wing overall. You don't have all this extra tape on board and making just a lot of guys run really heavy wings, and I can outmaneuver and outpace pretty much any aircraft out there with a 4S pack setup. So I don't know if Shelby's on there watching us or anything like that, but I'm sure he would say something about that. But he knows how competitive this airplane is, and most of the guys that we race with know how competitive it is.
And it's just a fun airplane. You don't even have to race it. I mean, just going out and flying around trees. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, all the videos where you see it crashing. I mean, this is this airplane that we flew in all the videos and crashed a bunch. So I mean, there's a little damage. But, I mean, any other airplane would be totally destroyed.
Yeah, hold that up so they can see that. I mean, this is literally, granted, in the video, guys, we didn't, 100 mile an hour into the dirt, obviously. But this is the airplane. I know it may be hard to see against our black shirts. But, yeah, it's a little nicked up. But we did cartwheel this several times outside of the actual video in Vegas. And and you hit a tree, and it took the branch with it, but it still works, and so the airplane's still in shape and still flyable for another day, and I think that's a true testament of what the EPP foam does for us. Yep. And yeah, some of you guys, Josh, the flight controller makes the theory priceless, and that's true. I'm not even accounting for the electronics of the receiver when I said that $180 price point. It's having Safe and the AS3X and Spectrum in there all in one, out of the box, and there's no build time. You go out and buy a kit wing of any brand, they're all great, and you go to build it, you're going to spend at least 10 hours putting it together and equipping it, and this is literally out of the box and go fly.
And that's the thing, there's something for everybody,
Yeah, exactly. This isn't...
I have 3 kids, I don't have that kind of time, you're single, you do. So, I mean, for me, pulling this out of the box, that's what I need, ready to go.
Yeah, so there's absolutely something for everybody. Well,
somebody did ask about a kit, so we don't necessarily sell a kit package, but you can buy the center section and the wings, and put all your own electronics in there if you feel necessary. So It's a little bit of work, but you can certainly do that. The code for the 636 will be available, so if you're running that, we can get you that file and get you up and running.
Absolutely. Or if you have an old theory and you want to upgrade,
you
want to upgrade to the new airframe,
we'll make sure that file's updatable and put your VTX in there and away you go.
Yeah, for sure. Plug and play is not available. Unfortunately, it's just a bind and fly, $2.99. Comes with everything that we talked about here, equipped, ready to go out of the box. So no plug and play. All right, guys. Well, I don't see any more questions coming through. It doesn't look like YouTube has any questions that we haven't answered yet. But and with that, I'm gonna go out and fly. It's like 45 degrees here. It's like a heat wave,
and calm,
and it's not windy. So I think we're gonna go out and fly, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great weekend, and hope we see you on the track with the Theory W.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.